Warning, the following video has flashing lights and also includes content that may be deemed inappropriate for some viewers. Viewer discretion is advised. Penn, Ohio research. Yes, Craig and Paul have once again found their way into the darkness of the Fox Den for another episode of Midnight Lycanthropy. I have been sleeping for so long. I really do appreciate the gifts you have brought. It is time to feed. Absolutely delicious. Now that Penn, Ohio research, aka Craig and Paul, have released me from my shackles, it is once again time to go Dogman hunting into the madness.
Stood up. I said, oh my god, it's a werewolf. And everybody in the car freaked out.
My creatures of the night. Yes, welcome back to Midnight Lycanthropy here on LordeStarfox Radio. As promised, we do have Penn, Ohio cryptid research back in the good old Fox Den. They will be coming to hang out with us monthly to update us with very strange interactions and research that they have been dealing with. Of course, we are going to allow Craig and Paul to take center stage here and really give us a deep dive into the unknown. You are officially in the stomping ground of the Midnight Society. How we doing tonight, guys?
Great. Doing good.
Great. How are you?
Excellent. Good to link up with both of you again. Been pretty busy, which is a good thing. No complaints. I've been doing a lot of consolidation with my podcast, meaning getting a lot of people together at the same time. Like last night, had 4 of my hosts, including me, so I would have been the 4th, sitting down and talking about topics. My audience still gets the same amount of content from the hosts and guests that they do enjoy, yet at the same time, it's going to free up a little bit more time, no pun intended, for me to work on some more editing and trying to market myself.
There you go.
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah, so you know how it is. It's 22. Again, no complaints. It's just one of those things you got to put in the work. Like last night, my buddy from up in Canada, Dave Scott, that runs Spaced Out Radio, wanted me to pop on. It was 12 a.m. our time to 2 a.m. I'm a night person anyhow, always working on things. Yeah, after that, I ended up doing a little bit more of my own editing afterwards too. So I definitely hear y'all on being busy.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's new with both of you?
Well, we're just getting ready to start our season. We wait until in Pennsylvania the spring gobbler season's it's over on May 17th. So that's when we hit the woods. We don't like to mess up people's hunts and stuff and their hunting grounds. So we hunt. We're active in the field from like after spring gobbler and then we try to move all our cameras and stuff out right before archery season, which is the end of September. unless we get a report or something, then we'll go out and do investigating then.
It's always good to stay on the hunter's good sides too. You get a
Yeah,
lot
I
of
was
from those
just gonna
guys.
say that, my friend. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
We-
Not to mention you don't want to get shot in the back.
Yeah, I was gonna say that as well. You know, you don't want to be pulling out an arrow and such. And I mean, in a perfect world,
no,
you would like to think people would be aware and be paying attention. Yet, time
Yeah.
and time again, I'm not one to watch the news, right? But I have my phone obviously set up to tell me Bruins updates because I'm a huge Bruins guy. I want to know what's up with Swayman and my team, right? But there's
Right.
no way to get around everything else, you know, because if you have those notifications on, every time I open up Google, they mix it in with all kinds of other stuff too. So literally daily, I see how insane people are. Something you want to be careful with for sure.
Yeah.
yeah. You can they got guns and weapons, you know, so you don't want to mess with them. And we were
Mhm.
hunters. We grew up hunting too, so you know we
Yeah, we get it.
we get it, you know. So out of respect for them, that's when we hit the woods. We're just getting ready to go here.
So we've been delving into the Dogman thing, you know, and everything since we've had them sightings up this way. And after talking with you and stuff, we've really started to dig into that and try to
educate ourselves somewhat, you know, because
see what we can come
yeah,
across this year as far as that goes, you know. So because it doesn't happen a whole lot around here, but there is 2 recent sightings within the last year and a half.
about a year and a half, and it was in a
So-
spot where we've been going for 8 years.
Yeah.
And we've had a lot of crazy activity there, and you know we've so we're just gonna we're trying to educate ourselves and you know see what's up with it. But I know talking with you last time, I don't got to get no silver bullets, so
Yeah, no, none of that stuff right there. Excellent.
it
And
won't
thank
work.
you. The kudos. I do appreciate both of you. And hopefully, if you were able to go through some of the previous playlists we have set up, that's always a good way, even without directly talking
Yes.
to me. Hopefully, we can get you guys some more positive information. And I mean, I'm just like a text away. You can always hit me up and I'll try to point you in the right direction with thoughts on things for sure.
Yeah. Well, I started listening to I listened to a few of them that you had with some other guests. The one guy I listened to that was a couple days ago, I think it was. He had he had quite a few sightings over in Ohio.
Yes, Richard McKindlish, right near y'all's stomping area. Yeah, he's an OG that is friends with one of my really good friends, Jody Cook, who actually started the North American Dogman Project. And Jody put me in touch with Richard. Great guy, but when it comes to tech, oh, brutal. He is really bad with tech. So I had to walk him through taking off audio and also images from his handheld recorder, showing him how he could take that chip, put it into his tablet, and then we got all his stuff updated online so he could send it to me. And now, yes, I'm really trying to help him get his image and his audio and stuff out to the public because he's got so much content. He just doesn't know how to air it, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah,
great.
we've got a lot of stuff to go through in that too. A lot of
Yes.
recordings and we had some pretty good vocals we got last year, and
I haven't been able to get them just due to medical reasons. I can't use my dang computer because I can't
Oh.
type. I can't.
Sorry
So-
to hear that, man.
Yeah. I'm working on it. They're working on meds. I'm getting better. It's getting
This is
closer.
good.
I actually was able to finish up my ufology course and got
Heck
my
yeah.
ufology certificate of, so hopefully we dig into that a little more this year too. So
Yeah, of course. I mean, if you need help with any of that stuff, and also if you ever want images or you want audio up in the video as we are talking, you can put all that stuff up in here as well, meaning that way, if you ever, don't have all your stuff on hand and you want to show somebody real quick where a lot of your stuff is, you can legit just toss them the link to our video, and then you're able to tackle, a bunch of different tasks at once right there.
Oh, okay.
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 Yeah, we probably told you when we talked to you the last time. We just started out looking for Bigfoot, because we
Mhm.
were both Bigfoot enthusiasts, and we've been we're down the rabbit hole now because there's just all this like unexplained crazy stuff that just happens, and delving into whatever comes up. Okay, we're not running. We're going to stay here and we're going to try to get pictures and get sound and all that good stuff. So it could be anything. And now like we just found out about this the Dogman sightings out there. And we've seen eye shine out there. We've had wood knocks out there. We've had rocks thrown at us out there. We've found different structures out there. I mean, we had that's where we seen the shadows moving around, the light figures. So there was all kinds of crazy stuff going on out there. So
We have also found the Indian burial ground that we were looking for. So we've actually found the location of that now. So we are going to camera trap it.
Yeah.
To see what we can get.
Yeah, that's first on the list. That's the first thing we're going to do. We're going to when we get out, we're going to put a bunch of our cameras out there.
So
That's great stuff right there. Heck yeah. It's very definitely important to make sure that you're able to get out and take care of things you want to. If you are interested, I could send you paperwork for the North American Dogman project and you can read through it. And if you're interested in joining us, it allows me then to share more information on cases with you and such, meaning even if we don't have a case closed yet and we feel like we don't want to publicize it yet, I could still be talking to you about that. If you both want to send me your emails, I will send you the paperwork. You can actually help each other out with it, meaning, yes, if one of you can't necessarily look at the computer screen for too much, it doesn't matter. Either or, print them off, sign them real quick, and then just take a quick screenshot from the pictures, upload them to your email, send them to me, and then I can forward that on to Jody, and then that's going to allow me to then sit down with you.
Okay.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah,
I just sent you mine.
Cool. Excellent. Yes, it's just one of those things. I mean, even if you're not part of the North American Dogman project, I can definitely help you out. But I just mean I have 555 pages of encounters from all across the world. And that way, if you're actually part of what we're doing, then that means I can show you, because that way you're not, I trust both of you, but in theory, that means y'all aren't just going to take the evidence, and just run off with it. Whereas if you weren't with us, again, in theory, because like I said, you guys are my friends, I trust you, but I'm just using an example. If I sent my encounter locations, to somebody and then they just vanish, right? They now have all these encounters that we sent them with locations and stuff. And potentially that makes me eligible if some bozo goes out there and then gets hurt or something as well. Who gave them that information? It's just, not something.
We do the same thing when we'll like go live and stuff. We never give location.
Okay, cool, sweet.
We don't. And mainly for the fact that we don't want somebody hoaxing us.
Exactly. Yes. Yep.
And we try to the only ones who know where we're going is Paul's wife knows where he's going and my wife knows where we're going.
Yep, makes sense.
That's it. And now then once we get out there, we'll go live, and but we don't tell the location. Never.
Yeah, exactly. So you know how it is. Great. Well, I will definitely send you that paperwork. You both will probably be passed out long before you get it tonight, because I'll be up pretty late, but it's going to be coming from NADP reports, I believe, at gmail.com. That's our email that we use to send out paperwork, and also if people want to submit information and such. So just keep an eye out for that. It might pop up in your spam at first until you add it to your inbox, but that's where you'll get the paperwork.
Okay.
All right. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Sweet.
I got to figure out how to do it first. I'm
just message it.
I'm not the computer. I'm not the tech guy at all. Paul,
you're good.
I mean, I'm there for backup. I'm there, you know. I'm there, but you know, Paul's the tech guy.
No, we'll definitely get it hooked up. Like I said, it's super easy, and you can just honestly print off one section, print off 2 copies of it, one for Paul and one for you, and legit just sign it, take screenshots, literally like cameras, you know, from your cell phone, bing, 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 message them to me. I forward them on to Jody. You're good. So,
Okay.
Was he the one that found over in Ohio that found the baboon skull out in the woods?
yes. Yep.
I remember seeing it
2006.
on Monster Quest, I think it was.
Yes, sir.
Okay. That name rung a bell. That I remember that.
Make you
Yes,
wonder how
he
it got there, right?
is the man. Well, before we dive into the epic things you both want to talk about, I can give you a quick little rundown potentially as to what Jody thinks happened and how it got there, and my take a little bit as well, if you'd like.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, sweet. Well, we do know, unfortunately, people have exotic pets that they're not supposed to have. Meaning, if you look back in like the 70s and 80s, everyone in Hollywood and such was walking around with huge, large cats. Well, then you weren't allowed to have tigers and jaguars as pets anymore. Yet they didn't tell you how you had to dispose of them. So most people, instead of putting them back where they properly belong, just let them out into the wilderness, right? But then there was a law that said, all right, wait a second. No, you can't do that either. You either need to bring them back where they're from, you need to euthanize them, or put them in the zoo. All right. Well, same thing now with pets. I'm up here in Maine, right? Okay. Tell me the last time, geography wise, you have ever heard of an anaconda in New England, correct? Right. Well, there was a large anaconda in Westbrook, Maine that was called Wessie that no one knows fully how it got up here, but they believe it was somebody's pet. It got too big, it let it out, and it was seen eating beavers in the river up here. All right. No one's seen it since then because obviously it probably couldn't have survived through the winter, etc. But moral of it is that's a prime example of someone releasing something.
Right.
Most likely it was somebody's pet that couldn't take care of it anymore. Unfortunately, they brought Bobo out in the forest and Pop, or it could have escaped from the zoo, or maybe some sort of area where they collect apes and do things that you and I might think are a little disturbing, right? It could also have been that.
Yeah.
Or my thought is it could be a remnant population of baboons that we think might not have really ever gone extinct, meaning like the Dinopithecus and such. Or the final theory is if you, I, and Craig here went and took hyenas and we took baboons and brought them to North America and we put them in Texas, Arizona, California, Florida, they are going to flourish as long as they have the capability of reproducing healthy. Africa, it gets cold still. Also, there's caves around here. And now you're taking things out of Africa that are dealing with everything trying to consume you. Meaning if hyenas go head to head with lions and everything else, what here in North America is really going to cause a hyena issues? Nothing, you know? So same thing with like the baboons and such. It's one of those, most likely that the first part, unfortunately, is what happened. Somebody's pet and blasted it. But like you said, why is that there in the middle of the forest near Dogman territory, near Gugway, Ohio Grassman? Interesting stuff.
Yes. Yeah. Most definitely. Most definitely.
Yeah, there's a lot of unexplained stuff out there. You know, I'm an odds guy. You know, what's the odds? You know, and I look at stuff and I'm like, I have no explanation. You know, so I can't discount anything. You know, and I'm not going to because I go out with an open mind. You know. Especially after all the stuff that has happened, you know, I mean, you know, it's just so much unexplained stuff that we've had happen to us that I'm not discounting anything, you know, but we just like getting out there. It's exciting.
Yeah, I could see how that could definitely be pretty potentially entertaining or thrill seeking. Like I said,
You get a chance to get out there much? In sit in the woods and stuff.
So here's the thing with me a lot of the time. Look at it as, we're going to use a football comparison. You folks right there are my head coaches and my GMs, and I'm like your analytical guy. All right. Meaning, how many times do we crunch the numbers to figure out if it's worth you going for 4th and 3 right here? You know, meaning if we run this a couple hundred times, it says you have a 75% chance of succeeding on this play. All right, well, I think we should do it. Meaning, I am basically behind the scenes a lot, sitting down with guests, sitting down with hosts, going through the photos that are submitted to us, the footprints, the audios, sending it out to our science team, getting the responses from the science team, and then touching base with the individuals that have wanted help with what was occurring. Of course, I have tried to get to areas, which I've done some hands-on stuff around here. I was actually talking about that with Dave Scott on Spaced Out Radio last night. Yet it's like a machine. You know, you got your motor, you got your transmission, you still need all the cogs. All right. Meaning, is the motor really more important than the transmission? Well, probably not, because one doesn't work without the other successful, right? It happens if you don't have the body of the car. Okay, cool. You have an engine and a transmission now, but you don't have the body. Yeah, I try to look at it as helping out people, like I told you earlier, like Richard, that has all this great stuff, but he can't figure out how to get it to the world. Like my master tracker, same thing. Guy spent his whole life out in the forest, brother nature, but he couldn't figure out how to log into Facebook.
That's me. When I was in school, I was in like 10th grade, and that's when they come out with calculators. They wouldn't let us use it. They wouldn't let us use them. They said it was cheating. So I never grew up with all that stuff. You know, these kids now, though, they know from the time they can remember, that's all they know is swiping the phone and, you know, technology.
So you're, yeah, like you say, you're the numbers guy. So
yeah,
what's your thoughts on hotspots? Do you think hotspots are legit, or are they just, you know, you just happen to catch them at this year at that place? Or
great questions right there. Yeah, I totally get what you're putting down right there. And you are correct. I am a nerd. So yes, I do try to crunch those numbers. You are right in potentially a hot spot that I call Werewolf Square, meaning you got Michigan, you got Wisconsin, you have Ohio, you have parts of Pennsylvania, the Shenango Valley, you have Tennessee, Kentucky, aka the land between the lakes. That whole entire area, boom. We have a ton of sightings right there. If you are ever interested and you just go to our website, NorthAmericanDogmanProject.com, you can find a ping on the Google map. Keep in mind, I have 550 pages. I'm trying to edit my own podcast by myself, consistently link up with brilliant minds like you. I have not even had a chance to remotely dive into updating the pings. That is something we are going to try and eventually do as well, is get those all pinged on the map. But another area is the Dogman Triangle, like my buddy Aaron Deese from Small Town Monsters and Heather Moser have dubbed right down there. If you look inside of that triangle, it again fits right in. Technically, it's called the Texas Triangle, but it's the Dogman Triangle with all the reports that are right up in there. If you look at those clusters, they're some of the larger ones. But then if you look at all of the mountain ranges, all of the national forests that have mountain ranges, and also all the cave systems, and then you look at the reports that we do have pinged, and you sandwich them all together, it almost matches up perfectly.
Yeah. See, that's what I found with Sasquatch, was the cave systems, the sightings, and then you lay UFOs on top of that, and they all line up, and it goes from one side of the U.S. to the other. It's like the sightings are a map of the caves.
Yes, bizarre.
It is very crazy, very crazy. So, okay, so the hotspot thing. So we're always near water, a swamp, especially a swamp. We have where we're having most of our bizarre encounters, our screams, our rock throws, and stuff like that is all coming from swampy areas. So we'll just keep doing what we're doing.
Yeah.
Keep doing what we're doing.
Fields lighting up for no reason and dimming back down, seeing shadows moving around and strange glowing figures on our game trail cameras. It's all around. It's always around water, you know, and in the one mainly in the one spot, you know.
It
makes sense right there. Yeah, I mean, if you look at a lot of the other potentially old school reportings, like you had touched base with Monster Quest. I actually know Doug Hijack. He's one of my buddies. I'm trying to get him over here at some point in time. Yeah, on some of those episodes, I believe they covered it twice. If you listen to groups of people that speak, you have those 3 teenagers that saw these dogman-like creatures drinking out of the water, cupping it with their hands, you know, as if you and I would be to drink water, right? And then you have the Beast of Bray Road that has been seen numerous times consuming things that have been hit and are unalived on the side of the road. All right. And then you now have a bunch of burrows and dens that are found. Okay. That to me right there doesn't point that this is all flesh and blood by any means, because it's not. But that points to me that whatever version of those that is doing that is playing by the same rules of you and I, meaning if it was not from this world or it was paranormal, why does it need to drink the same water you and I need to drink? Why is it eating, you know, something that potentially you and I might consume, like deer or venison, you know, etc.? Why is it hiding in shelter around it to keep itself warm? Very interesting, you know?
Yeah, it still has to interact with the environment.
Yeah.
Is it paranormal?
Right? I mean, I do believe plenty of extraterrestrial and paranormal aspects are occurring, and I do believe that it's one and the same, but also separate, meaning what we just spoke about right there are the same ones that Alexander the Great and Herodotus spoke about, meaning the cynocephalid. They were able to be unalived. You know, they were harder to do that to on the battlefield than per se the normal Roman soldiers. And Alexander the Great said he would prefer to have fought with them instead of against them. Okay, now we're talking about swords and cold steel that was able to do damage to these. And then there was a case recently that I do not know the exact time frame in front of my face, so I don't want to throw it out there. I don't like to put out dates and times if I don't have it correct when I know I have it correct, but it's an old school encounter from Louisiana where a farmer claims some sort of canine-like dog creature ran at him and actually ended up impaling itself on a stick that he had pulled up to defend itself. And he claimed it was unalived from this, meaning, again, if sure he hit it right through the chest cavity or it's harder, etc. Either way, moral of the whole entire thing, again, if that was paranormal, as far as I know, unless we're the Ghostbusters or Sam and Dean from Supernatural, we're not doing any damage to that, correct? If it's something that can come all the way from another universe, I really don't think our little pew-pews would be doing that much damage to that, meaning, again, I don't dive into the UFO topic. I do believe in it, but if you look at the Battle of Los Angeles, it's documented that they fired thousands of shells at something and it did absolutely no damage whatsoever, which if it was a weather balloon, it would have got destroyed. If it was any sort of known aircraft or boat, would have got destroyed. Again, that would be my opinion. Like Linda Godfrey says, rest in peace. The illuminating blue Dogman report that was sent in to her where this person said it legit looked like plasma, like it was here, but it wasn't here. You know, again, then I could see our weapons not working on it. But if it's drinking water like you and I, it's getting tired like you and I, it doesn't matter whether you're a Tyrannosaurus Rex or a great white shark, you can still leave this realm.
Yeah. You're right.
That makes sense.
So, it gets deep.
It gets deep. Yeah. It's always more questions than answers, you know? It's like,
it's like Sasquatch. I mean, how many instances have you heard of them being shot and just walking away, you know? Yeah.
Walking in a field and there's prints and then all of a sudden they disappear.
Yes, exactly. Like some Halo stuff where it's just, what did it manifest for a little bit and then all of a sudden just poof out? Yeah, I've got that with Dogman all the time.
Walking in and out of different dimensions, walking in and out of universes, multiple Earth theory. I mean, you could go so deep with that.
Yeah. And in all honesty, in this spot where we're at, we always put the cameras on the cameras. We told you that before, and I think that's what happened there, because all of a sudden there's 3 pictures of, in the distance you see these 2 glowing dots, and then the next picture you see like upright glowing figures, and then the last picture was right in front of the camera, 2 separate glowing silhouettes, like figures. And we had a camera facing that camera, and it didn't get nothing. It only had, all it had on it was Paul turning the camera on and Paul turning the camera off. And then after that last picture of those 2 glowing figures standing in front of it, there was like 150 just black pictures. Nothing on them, but they were pictures taken.
Wow.
It's almost like they were stepping out of a portal. You know what I mean? Like one dimensional. From the side, you wouldn't be able to see it, which is why our other camera didn't pick it up, which is the only explanation I can come up with. Because they were there's no reason why the camera shouldn't have got it.
Yeah.
And that camera just happened to be in the right spot and caught whatever that was opening up, or whatever those 2 things were that walked towards the camera.
So, and we were deep in the woods. I mean, there was no artificial light around. If somebody would have been walking through the woods with a light, the other camera would have caught it. I mean, it just, and the camera worked. I mean, we checked the batteries, everything was still good. Both of them. I mean, we just have no explanations for a lot of this stuff going on. That's why I personally don't discount anything. I'm in the I don't know camp what's going on out here.
Not a bad way to approach that, my friend. I am just always subjective and objective, just trying to go in the direction that analytics and evidence, gears me in. I also always say I'm willing to sway my opinions for the same brilliant minds that have helped me form opinions I have now. If they're able to sit down with me and open my mind towards different thoughts and different directions, I am always an advocate of that. Recently, I feel like a SpongeBob character where my brain just is blown up because I've been listening to some really great astrophysicists and also some other brilliant people that have been explaining and making it actually understandable how, in theory and even potentially reality, that portals and things with the right quantum physics would be able to successfully exist. Again, I'm talking about people that are way smarter than I could ever dream of being, right? And also now, on another note, again, when you guys are out there, if you're dealing with something that's flesh and blood, weaponry is going to do damage to it, meaning, again, I will eventually be covering this on my little sister podcast, Camp Nightmare Fuel. If you look at the Kindar giants, right, and that occurred in the Middle East, okay? Well, It is interesting, the interview that the pilot gave, and then also supposedly one of the other interviews that a member that took down this red-headed giant. Again, I know zero about biblical stuff, really. I'm super spiritual, but I'm not religious, so I don't know much about Nephilims. I know it's been introduced to me since I have spoken to people that are historical based in, my project I work on. Yet again, moral of the whole thing is these soldiers were able to smoke this giant that had this spear. Yes, they claimed he was super fast and he caught one of their soldiers off guard. But the moral of the whole entire thing, again, is if this per se giant was really, I don't know, from out of this world, would we again have been able to smoke it like that? You know?
Right.
Yeah.
I've seen some pretty compelling videos and photos of what they claim to be giants on top of mountains and stuff here and there. I've seen some crazy stuff lately on that come across. So this make you, yeah, some weird things happening lately, it seems.
Right?
Like some stuff has opened up. I don't know. But you're talking about that. I just watched a show last night about black holes and these physicists talking about interconnection of dimensions and different universes through the black hole. Like you say, these guys are, you know, theoretical physicists. So it's like I have no clue what the hell they're talking about. But, you know, keeps you interested. But, yeah, it makes you think. Like you say, if it was alien or supernatural, you know, like you said, would we even be able to hurt something like that? And if we were able to hurt it, would we be able to actually it is a whole nother thing. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
Right? When you think of people like Stephen Hawkins, rest in peace, buddy. I mean, same thing. Another brilliant mind that was on a whole nother level of understanding things.
Yes.
He spoke about that as well.
Yes. And yeah. And the quantum physics thing and entanglement and all that. Yeah. I don't know.
What even is a black hole? Seriously, what the heck is it? No one can really go in there or near it because it just sucks you in.
Know what they are, actually. So you're right. They don't, because they can't get close enough to tell you what they are.
Yeah, because whatever does never comes back, right? Or at least back to where we are.
Right.
Again, I'm such a nerd. That reminds me of the movie Doom that was terrible with a rock in it, where one of those guys goes through the portal and his top half came back, but his lower half went somewhere else. So he was in like that metal wheelchair with like the spine, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yes, that is something that would scare the heck out of me if they're like, step through here. Well, what happens if my other part of my body doesn't come with me?
Right. Yes. Yeah.
Gnarly. Well, what else would you guys like to touch base on tonight, my friends?
Well, we're going to be heading back out to where we got this. We got some pretty hellacious screams here last year. Was standing on a cliff face. Guy come out of the woods, was hunting, and was pulling out. And as he pulled out, was driving up the road down this old, I don't even know if you could call it a logging road, really. It's not even, it's more like a trail.
An old abandoned logging road.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So overgrown and stuff, and almost retaken back,
It runs along a cliff face, and we were standing there doing some calls and some yells down through a valley, and up behind us came this scream, like I would say like a female being unalived. Wouldn't you?
Yeah, it was loud. It was like
loud.
like a coming through a megaphone. And we both spun around. We both had our weapons out. You know, I mean,
but it never came down to the level we were at on the cliff face. It stayed up above us.
Yeah, it was about 20 foot above us.
So at least 20 feet up from us. But so we'll be heading back out there, right? I want to go back out there like right away this year and get a jump on that area, which is also where we've recorded we didn't actually get a recording of the little kids, but middle of the night, 11:30 or something, your little kids giggling in the woods.
Yeah.
That's what we said.
Yeah, we're deep in the woods. I mean, and it's dark. I mean, this was a dark night. There wasn't just a sliver of the moon out. You couldn't see your hand in front of your face, and nobody around for miles. And Paul's hearing is a little better than mine. he tells me, he says, I know I'm hearing a kid giggling. I said, what? He goes, and so I put on, we have these game ears, that you can adjust them, they magnify sound. And that's when I heard it. And I immediately pulled my weapon out. If a kid would have been in the woods there, the kid would have been crying. He wouldn't have been giggling because it was so dark,
But, they say Squatch mimics.
Yeah. So we,
and the area that was in is where we've had major Squatch activity. We've casted footprints. We've got structures. We've got knocks, whoops, yells, all of it. But those two things, that scream that night and those kids giggling, just does not fit, And I said, now I've heard, Squatch does mimic babies crying or whatever. There's been reports of it.
Yeah.
I've never heard of a report where they were mimicking children giggling, but it would be something to catch on audio. That's for sure.
And in that same spot, because we'll go up like the day during the day, and then we'll stay for like the night investigation and stay until there's nothing happening, and then we'll come home like late at night. But during the day, we walk through this patch of woods, the same patch of woods that we heard this giggling coming from. And now I'm going to be 70 years old in September, and I've been hunting and been in the wood. I'm fishing my whole life. And Paul's the same way. But in this little patch of woods, I've never seen this. There must have been 300-400 sticks, maybe 4 foot, 5 foot high, shoved into the ground all through this little patch of woods. I've never seen it. I don't know who would do that just to do it. I mean, who would even go in that little patch of woods and notice that? But we were looking for evidence and for a spot that put our game trail cameras, and that's when we come across all this stuff. So there's just like so much crazy stuff that you find when you're paying attention. There's
also a dump where they dump the road. Right near there, not 500 yards from where we park to go into the woods. There's a deer dump there, so you're going to get a lot of wildlife that I won't say isn't normal for the area, but it's going to pull them into a smaller area, so that you're going to get your cats and your bear or whatever. But we haven't encountered any of that yet. Not even tracks of cats and bears.
Wow.
Squatch prints, but
coyotes. We've got coyotes on the camera.
Yeah, but yeah. So I don't know if the Squatch, them being in the area, is keeping the other larger predators out of the area, or that's the only explanation I could have, because the bear's not going to pass up an easy meal like that. So
yes, no, it's just like a drive-through.
Yeah.
It's just the way it is. Anything.
Smorgasbord.
Yeah. So.
All right, fast food, eh? I mean, it would only make logical sense right there. Just be careful. There's a couple reasons, meaning I have had some really brilliant minds telling me recently that they don't know if it's potentially the best idea to be banging on trees or maybe blaring calls, because technically we still don't know what those mean. When you blare a call, what are you really saying, right?
Yep.
We thought about that too.
We just had a discussion with someone else about that, whether or not
because it's kind of like a joke I like to crack with my squirrel, right? I think when she's talking to me and she's super happy, I think, because I'm giving her peanuts and all her stuff. But what if she's really saying, yeah, you stupid punk, you keep feeding me. Yeah, I'm going to eat everything. You don't know. I mean, I think that's what she's saying, right? So same thing with the audio. What if when someone clips something, per se, that Sasquatch or Dogman is yelling like "get the F out of here," more or less, or Yeah, it's a challenge call, and then we think it's, oh, hey, this is what they sound like. Then you blare out a challenge call or maybe a mating call. I mean, again, on a funny
Here they
note,
come.
yeah, that would be pretty bad if you called in a male Sasquatch with a female mating call, right? And then he shows up and, well, this wasn't what I was expecting. He's probably not going to be too happy, right?
No,
Yeah.
you're right. You're right. Maybe we should rethink call blasting.
I mean, again, it's not something that I specialize in. I just, I like you guys and stuff, and it's just been passed on to me. And the more I put thought into it, we don't know what they're saying. It's kind of like when you go to another country and you're reading something that tells you how to speak like French or something, and then they start kind of laughing at you a little bit because they know that you're not truly French, right? Because you're just messing up where nouns should be and such. I don't know. It's kind of like the same thing. You don't really know like what we're saying.
You're right, and it is kind of odd. You're like I said, you're like the second person that's brought that same point up to us in the last couple months here. So, which is funny. It's funny. Maybe we should rethink.
Well, like the banging too, because I've heard some people, again, I don't go out of my way to like really dive into the Sasquatch and such. I find it interesting and I love knowledge, but I'll have it on in the background while I'm working. And I was listening again to some scientists saying that there's been numerous reports where people have seen these Sasquatch when they're banging things off the tree. They don't look happy. Like one gentleman saw this Sasquatch holding like a pretty large tree in both of his hands, just banging it off this tree before he pretty much just threw it and was like, "Rah!" Which again, that doesn't really seem like a welcoming, advancement. Meaning again, when someone's knocking back, what are we really knocking back? I mean, if you hit it 2 times, maybe that's cordial, but if you hit it 3 or 4, maybe that's a challenge. I don't know. It's just something that we don't fully know.
Well, we honestly think we know they're territorial because the one spot we go in to put our cameras, we were going in to take them out. It was like at the end of September, we were going to get them out because of the archery season.
Yes.
Now we're taking our time walking into this spot, looking for evidence, and all of a sudden there's a marsh, and it had cattails and a bunch of brush and stuff right in front of it. But on the other side of the marsh, this tree just starts whipping back and forth. I mean, it was a big tree, and it happened so fast. We didn't have time to get our cameras out, and then it snapped, and this thing broke a tree. I mean, and then we heard it take off running through the woods. It sounded huge. It sounded like King Kong running through the woods.
I don't doubt that was a show of
force, dominance.
I have no doubt in my mind, seeing what it did, that it was a hey, this is mine.
Yeah.
And
then right after that, we got body cams, police body cams. Yeah. That's what we use now because we couldn't get our phones out fast enough to record it. It happened so quick.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Yikes. So
they show dominance. We know for a fact they do.
Yeah, I mean, anything's territorial, even a goldfish. So, yes, I could totally see. I mean, human beings are territorial as well. I did want to make one more little safety tip potentially for y'all, too, that was passed on to me, meaning, well, a lot of people don't realize that bear spray isn't as good as regular pepper spray, meaning it actually has been designed to not harm the retina and stuff of the animal, which is good. Yet they seem to not care about the harm that could be caused to people and pepper spray, meaning I really encourage with your, weapons, bring out pepper spray too. It's got a distance on it. And no matter who or what you are, when you spray that into someone's good old face, and especially an animal that has really high senses, it's going to cause a little bit of a disturbance for sure.
Yeah. Okay. So the Dogman and stuff, I mean, how are they getting interactions with these? They just pure luck being in the right place at the right time, or is there?
Honestly, that's such a great question. I do feel that when you look at animal behaviors, as we are starting to tie this up, if you look at unfortunately what happened in that movie Gorillas of the Mist. I always touch base on that with Sigourney Weaver. All right. She played a woman, unfortunately, that was unalived by poachers, meaning she had heard about the mountain gorillas and what was occurring to them, went over and wanted to try and save them. Well, after that, Jane Goodell really took notice into the mountain gorillas as well. Keep in mind, she had to spend 3 years there almost every day until those gorillas showed themselves to her. So, yeah, she knew they existed because of the illegal trade that was occurring and such. Yet she had to spend that much time in that area. And the only reason the poachers were able to go in there and get them is that they went in large numbers and completely purged that area consistently. Whereas when someone's looking for a dogman per se, they're out there for like what, 1-2 days maybe. I mean, they're not spending like a whole entire year out there. A lot of people don't realize when you see some of these great wildlife photos and stuff, people don't just get that right off. One dude had to spend 1.5 years out there to get Siberian tigers on camera. All right. We all know tigers exist, meaning I just think it's about not necessarily even luck, just investing time, and trying to just outsmart your opponent, no different than anything else, like a game of chess,
Yep.
I got one question for you.
Of course.
A couple. Have there been documented reports of dogmen tearing trees down?
Yes.
Knocking on trees?
Yes.
Throwing rocks?
Yes.
Okay.
Also, same thing with bending and leaving like little knots in trees as well. I mean, again, they're reported to have those articulated hands. I think in theory, again, if they're playing tricks on people, banging on your house, trolling people, throwing things like my friend Lee Hampel from the Bray Road Beast, he's right on there in Wisconsin. I mean, it chucks rocks at his truck all the time. It stands inside of his door to his garage right underneath a huge light while he's out on his tractor, almost as if just to let him know it's around. I mean, it bangs on his house, all kinds of stuff.
Because we've had rocks thrown at us 5 times in 8 years. Five different times.
Makes you wonder why he's doing that. Is it a show of dominance, or is it just, haha, I'm here. You can't do nothing about it.
Could be both, maybe. If it's more animal based, then it's probably a sign of, getting out of here. But again, if it is really intellectual, such as you and I, which everything's intellectual, okay? Humans, for some reason, think that just because we can operate a computer or a cell phone, that we're smarter than an animal, meaning, no, I don't know about that. If you, myself, and all of us were having to go outside for a whole entire year, build your own house, get all your own food, make all your own clothing, the majority of us are not going to be successful, right? And isn't that a sign of intellect? So just because that wolf doesn't pick up a cell phone and text on it, it's completely self-sufficient, So that's what I mean about figuring out what exactly it is. Yet if we are going to go with it being super intellectual, I just think it's probably humorous, meaning if you look at people that are super demented and you look at documentaries of serial unalivers, they a lot of times don't even get the biggest thrill off of the final act. They get the biggest thrill off of the fear that they install with this person throughout weeks and weeks of trauma.
The hunt.
Yes. Yep.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. Well, hopefully we got some good stories news stories here for you next month.
That would be great. I mean, you guys always come in with amazing stuff, and I do encourage you to keep on doing what you are doing. And if we can help you in any way, or if I can help you in any way here, I'm just a text or so away. I try to get as much information out there as possible, meaning even if I can't directly answer people's questions, that hopefully I have enough knowledge out there that answers a lot of questions without me having to speak. That's kind of the ultimate goal, is to just have that information out there. Yet, like I said, I'm just a text away, my guys. So if I can ever help out with anything, make sure to let me know. Is there anything else you both would like to touch base on tonight before we let you go?
I'll send my email to you.
Yes, please.
Copy that to Paul sent you his already, but
Cool. I haven't turned my phone on yet, but as soon as we get done here, I will be turning on the good old phone. Long story short is I get the anxiety monster a ton. I mean, I'm getting better at it, but at certain points in time, even though I'm great at multitasking, every once in a while, my phone will just stress me out too much. So I just kind of shut it off, and it's over in the corner right now until I'm going to work on it later. But yeah, I will definitely get that paperwork to both
Okay.
of you tonight for sure, and it will just allow me to help navigate information to you a little bit better.
Yeah, I'll dig into that. I'll dig into that stuff and see what. Yeah.
Yes, it's super easy. Like I said, know anyone that's got a printer, man, just print out. I believe it's like 8 pages. 2 of them you don't have to sign. It's just information to read through. So there's 6 to sign, and then literally you can just take pictures with your cell phone, text it to me, put it through Facebook Messenger. Doesn't matter. Or you can email it back. I'll forward it on to Jody, and then immediately after that, I can then sit down with you and read through the Ohio stuff we have.
Okay.
Yeah, cool. All right.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Well, is there anything else you guys would like to chat about tonight before we tie this up?
I got none.
Yeah, we're just getting ready to go out. That's all. Just getting the batteries into all the cameras and checking all the recorders and making sure everything's
Good to go.
Good to go, and then we'll be out. The 17th is the last day of turkey season around here. So after that, we'll be out.
Boom. This is great stuff right there. Excellent. Well, to the audience, yes, Penn, Ohio Cryptid Research. Of course, Craig and Paul are extremely busy, as you did just hear. They have a bunch of, yes, hands-on investigating that will be coming up. And if you did hear the first part of the episode, they are a monthly host, and they will be back sooner than later. You can also check out our previous episode in the good old playlist down below that I have set up for Craig and Paul. Yes, we will be trying to figure out what exactly it is that they are interacting with. Yet, if I do fear anything, it is the sunlight, and I can feel my skin burning. For the moment, this will be the conclusion of the meeting of the Midnight Society for the early hours of the morning. Craig and Paul, my guys, thank you for hanging out.
You're welcome. No problem.
Yep.
Ooh, my creatures of the night, I do adore every single one of you legends. Thank you for tuning in tonight. Please like, comment, subscribe, share the truth to the algorithm, and we will catch you very soon.